Hello there, dreamers. This is where I attempt to interpret my dream, where the work is done. If you have not seen my performance of the Muesli Bar Box, I highly recommend you watch it before we delve into this interpretation. But to summarise this big dream, I find myself navigating a dark, ramshackle street, seemingly from the 1950s, where I am confronted by a dishevelled old woman who has a hidden agenda. Beckoned by a big black door, I enter a room and am greeted by a beautiful young woman with whom a relationship blooms, giving birth to a new beginning. Now, for the interpretation. I pondered at great length why the setting of the dream seems to be set in the 1950s. The first thing it brought up was the idea of gangsters and suaveness, but that did not resonate with me. So, I did some research and found that during the 1950s, many significant things occurred. The start of the Vietnam, Korean and Cold Wars, and interestingly, the discovery of the DNA double helix, where James Watson dreamt of a spiral staircase which made him consider the shape of the DNA chain. The 1950s was a time of immense unease and conflict, but also the beginning of a greater understanding of the human species, which is fitting for this dream as there is confrontation followed by a better understanding of my hidden self. With this being one of the first significant dreams I documented after first delving into Jung's works, the first time exploring my subconscious with intent, it makes sense that the street itself is in complete disarray and in need of a cleanup. The boarded up and uninviting shop fronts suggest that there is the potential for all sorts of goods to be obtained, but due to the lack of knowledge about my inner world, they have all gone out of business. My son symbolises my own inner child, who is clinging to their chest, the Muesli Bar Box. A beautiful friend of mine suggested that the box may represent knowledge and morals of life that are wanting to be held dear. This really struck something deep within me. The child's desperation and eagerness to protect the box makes me feel that now being faced with conflict and transformation, there is a deep desire to hold close certain aspects of self. Aspects I have explored and forged with great turmoil and ridicule. Aspects that seem honestly Zane. I interpret the old woman as the Crone archetype, a pre-existent form in the collective unconscious that embodies instinctive ways of channeling wisdom, inner knowing and intuition, guiding us through the transition of life and going inward to bring forth the light of transformation. Her confrontation is an act to force my inner child out of its comfort zone, which then empowers me to fight back, invoking a raw emotion. I see the old man as a part of my animus, who slinks away reluctantly to make space for the crone. While listening to the incredible podcast This Jungian Life, Joseph discusses the myth of Eros and Anteros, explaining that in ancient images and classical artwork, the two cherub-looking figures are wrestling together, often one with white wings and the other with black wings. In the wrestling between the two of them, Eros gains his strength and his capacity to love and his role in the universe. This resonated with me immensely. My wrestling with the old woman, our faces grinding up against each other like powerful machines, signified that I needed to intercede powerfully, to reclaim my inner strength, to find and fight for love. Returning the box to my son showed the inner child's strength, a determination to protect, and that I now have access to power. Now harnessing that power, I look back down the empty street, standing alone, ready for my first steps of individuation. Gripping firmly on the handle of the beautiful heavy wooden door, then opening it with a smooth confidence shows a readiness for the confrontation of the unknown with my inner world. An inner world that is dusty, neglected, and does need tending to. But the lighting is dim and soothing, putting me at ease to soften into the space. Greeted by the beautiful young woman, she reveals her true form to me, my anima, which helps explain the intimacy felt between the two of us, and that despite my lack of awareness to her presence, she's always been there for me, guiding me, assisting me, both positively and negatively. She congratulates me on opposing her, reassuring me the significance of harnessing my own power to fight for love, especially the love of self. Her being a spy is an intriguing twist. My initial thought was that she was a secret agent of a sort, but the other definition of spy is to discern or make out, especially by careful observation, which makes me think that my Anna was letting me know that she has been keeping a detailed eye on me. My lying about knowing she was a spy is a little embarrassing. It was like I was trying to assert some sort of power over her. Thankfully, I get off lightly and just have to sit in the awkwardness of her judgment briefly. It seems like she's being lenient for our first meeting. As she proceeds on with her mission, she suddenly realizes that she has been followed. Some unseen shadow content seems to emerge to hinder us. Content that I must not be ready yet to confront. Preparing myself at the second door shows me that there are multiple ways to enter my internal and external world. Then making eye contact with my anima one last time, we leave the room together in synchronicity, forging a unity and partnership as we work together, although perhaps for the time being from a distance. To bring it all together, this was an incredibly momentous dream. My life at the time of this dream was turbulent. Most notably was the shift in my relationship with my long-term partner, who I loved immensely, arguably obsessively. She's also the mother of my son. It was also during the early days of my exploration into Jung's work and practices, which was opening up new and compelling insights that was teaching me a vast amount about myself. I came to realize I had been projecting a great deal onto my relationship. This realization allowed me to finally be able to see my partner, and more importantly, myself, clearly for the first time in 10 years. Imperatively, it opened up the space for my anima to reveal herself to me, inviting me, encouraging me, empowering me to embark on my epic journey into the internal and external, to begin my path of individuation. I wish you all a deep sleep with insightful dreams.